Hey y'all, this is Tia from Nail Dip Studio. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Again, my name is Tia, and I am the owner of Nail Dip Studio, an online nail boutique that specializes in dip shades that flatter women of color. If you're interested in purchasing any products that you see on my channel, please head over to naildipstudio.com. And yeah, so I wanted to come today and show you a quick video about how I stop my nails from cracking. As you know, if you're new, I'm really big on nail prep. Right here, I am spraying alcohol into a cotton round, and I do that before I even apply my nail primer. It just helps to aid in removing any type of leftover product, and it also removes any dust that we may have on our hands, because oftentimes we're doing a lot of filing, we're doing a lot of buffing, and that can create dust and dust particles that can actually affect our final product. So you just want to make sure that you do a good once over with a cotton round, and that you make sure that you remove any particles. Now we're going to jump into step number one. Step number one is the nail primer, and you're going to prime all 10 fingers. I do the priming step twice, so I like to do 2 coats of the primer. Now, what we're going to do next is use our clear powder, and we're going to use that to create our foundation. And I always use the clear powder to sort of build my first step, which is a half a step, which is going to be a half a layer. And that's important to help offset any cracking that you may be experiencing, because it won't allow the product or the powder to have much give, meaning it won't be allowed to flex that much when you start to build your foundation up. And oftentimes I find that people omit this step when they're doing their dip nails. They don't put that foundational half dip layer there to help aid in the ability to sort of remove the flexing capabilities, because you want strength, but you don't want your nails to be overly hard. And I find that by doing this, it creates a layer that helps to reinforce the top layers, and it also helps to build your apex. Now, what's going to be really important in this video, because we're tackling cracking, and I purposely cracked my nails in order to get the thumbnail, but I want to show you how to remove or to avoid cracking. Now, once you've done your foundational layer on all 10 fingers, you're going to actually take your dust brush and you're going to dust off any extra powder that you have. All right. But it's going to be really important that you focus in on the way that I am applying the powder and the liquid to my nails, because that's what's going to stop you from having cracks, nail cracks. It's really about understanding how to properly distribute the powder and how to put the liquid on the nails. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the video to come. So right now, all I'm doing is sort of tapping the powder, loosening up the powder, releasing any air that may be in the powder. Now, one caveat that I will say is that if you are using a low quality nail system, it may be the system and not the technique that is causing you to have issues, okay? So right here, I'm using my pinky finger, and I'm going to demonstrate how I apply my liquid. So remember, we did that half dip. I'm going just above that half dip layer line. I am not touching my side walls. I am going to sweep and cap my free edge, but I am not touching the side walls. And the reason we're doing that is because we're going to put on 5 layers of powder. Yes, you can put on 5 layers of powder without it looking bulky, without it looking crazy, and it will add to an aid in strengthening your overlay. Okay, tap off the excess powder, and right here you can actually see how I didn't even touch my side walls. And I'm going to pinch my nails, and I pinch my nails. I usually do that at the beginning of the year just to help form and then help shape my nails, but I like to pinch my nails. And when I pinch, I just pinch and I blow over top, and that air that I'm blowing over top of my nails just helps me sort of mold my nail and get the shape that I'm looking for. But it's very important that you mimic the steps that I'm doing, because I'm not hitting my sidewalls, and I'm not putting that product too close to the cuticle area, because we're trying to build. And that's the key. Oftentimes what happens is when you're applying your dip powder, some people will, or your technician may just apply, a half a dip, 2 layers, and a clear, which is like 3.5 layers. But if the product has been diluted, it's not going to give you the same strength that you're looking for. And that's probably why you're experiencing cracking. Okay, that's one of the reasons why. And I'll get into some other reasons as we progress in the video, but I really just wanted to point that out. I also, too, allow my finger to sit in the product for about 15 seconds. And the reason for that is because I really want the powder to adhere to the adhesive. That could be another issue. It could be that your powder is just not adhering, and it's not formulating the bond necessary in order to create a proper marriage between the liquid and the powder set. Again, I'm going to pinch my nail, I'm going to blow for a few seconds, I'm going to release, and now I've molded my nail in the shape that I really want it to be. And this is a tip for someone who may have wider nails, and you're trying to sort of mold your fingernails into a certain shape, a narrow shape. Then you would want to definitely pinch. And you don't need a pincher. You can just use your thumb and your pointer finger to actually pinch your actual nail. But again, that's just something that I like to do, so I do that. Now, always, always, always cap off your free edge. But again, pay attention. I am doing the same step on my middle finger that I did on my pinky, that I did on my ring finger. The point here is to make sure that I am distributing the liquid and the powder appropriately. I find that I don't have issues on my sides with cracking and chipping. I need to make sure that the product is distributed. What the hell? Why can't I speak today? I want to make sure that the powder is evenly distributed on my nail. Okay, so right here, I'm going to pinch. Now, I want you to count. This technically is like the second layer that I applied to my nails. That's the second piece. And so we're going to do 5 layers. And I want you to see how this turns out and how this will, eventually look. Now, you're going to do that on all 10 fingers. And as you can see, fast forward, I've done that on all 10 fingers. You can see I did not apply any powder to the side walls, and you want to make sure you don't do that. And I can't, I'm stressing that to you because this is going to really change your dipping game and step it up. And you can see I did not brush off any of the powder. As you can see in the clear jar, that I'm dusting the powder off what's left, and you're now seeing it go from like a clear, almost white color to now like a soft pink. And that's because that's the loose powder that is still left on my nails. Okay, so we just did 2 layers. I'm going to put that dish to the side, and now we're going to work on our 3rd layer. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go a little bit above that last layer. You don't want to go too far towards the cuticle line just yet, because we're not there yet. We have to make sure that the product is on there good, and we want to build up that middle section, right? Because that's really where the weight of your nails, in my opinion, that's where the weight should be. Okay, your nail can really hold the weight there. So as you can see here, small strokes, not a lot of product. I'm always going to sweep my free edge, and now you will see the difference. Again, I just went a little bit above where we last dipped, and that's the progression that you want to do. You don't want to go full on back by the cuticle, because now you're going to have these thick chiclet looking nails, and it's not going to be it's not going to be not pretty at all. Right? So right here, again, this is my fourth layer, okay? Or is that the third layer? Let me think. No, that was our third layer. That was our third layer, not the fourth one. That was the third layer, okay? And I can tell that that was the third layer because I did not bring the product all the way down to the sides. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in and show that to you. You see how I sort of build and build and build. Every time I add a layer, I push it closer to the cuticle line, but not quite touching the cuticle line. So that was layer number 3. Okay, layer number 3. We did the half layer with the clear. The second layer, let's just say that was like maybe 3/4 of a dip. And then this one, let's say this one was like maybe 6/8 of a dip. And so now we're going to do the fourth layer will be the full dip color. And I'm going to take that product, push it back as close as possible to the cuticle line. I am going to make sure that I use the adhesive to cover the side walls. And then I'm going to dip my finger into the powder for an additional 10 to 20 seconds and then pull that out. Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like. You can apply your eyewear based on my lifestyle and the things that I do with my hands, because I'm extremely rough with my hands. So I always use about 5 layers, and in some cases, depending on what I'm doing for the week, I may even go up to 5.5, 6. But all depends on the activity that you're doing. And again, if the product has been diluted, there's nothing, that's a product issue. Your technique doesn't matter. I would have to probably put on, at that point, you'll probably have to do maybe 7, 8 layers just to get the strength of what you would get from my product. And by that time, you're using more product and you're almost like wasting money. So I wouldn't do that if I was you. I would just start off with a good product from the jump. But as you can see here, right, I'm showing you the side profile dead on. I'm showing you the side profile, and I want you to see it does not look thick. It looks like a thin, traditional natural nail overlay. If you were going to your nail tech to get your nails done, it just looks like, a regular overlay. But again, we did 4 dips here. This is definitely 4. The 5th dip will be your clear powder, okay? And you want to make sure that you always seal, especially when you have a color like this beautiful red. You want to make sure that you're not fouling off any pigment. Pigment and powder are 2 different things, because you can still have the powder there, meaning the clear powder or the white powder used to sort of bond the pigment, but you can actually in turn file off the pigment and not have any color show through. And so that's why I like to encapsulate my nails with the clear. So as you can see right here, this is the sort of second dip that I did. I'm now going in for my third layer, okay? When I pull the nail out, you will see I did not flood the sidewalls, and I keep saying that because you're building product up. So when you're building that product up, you don't want to flood the sides so that now your nails are whiter. Whiter nails, in my opinion, especially if you don't have a wide finger, it can be unflattering. And it can definitely take away from what you're attempting to do. It can just make it look very clunky, and you don't want that. So here I'm showing you how we've added those layers. We don't have bulk on the sides. It's not bulk at the free edge. And it is also too very important that you just build that up and you make it as flattering as possible, because you're trying to stop your nails from cracking. Like, nails can crack if those layers are not formulated correctly. It will just, they will crack, snap, crackle and pop on you, because this is not the traditional monomer and powder. This is dip. It is a finer powder which doesn't require as much filing, that can be applied and cured using your base coat. And so you want to make sure you keep that in mind. So if you have more of an active lifestyle, you need to add more layers. I always, I would say if you have an active lifestyle, have 5 layers. Okay, this right here is my fourth and final layer. As you can see, I did not flood. It doesn't look crazy. It looks very natural, very much so manageable. And it's not all over the place. I don't have product falling on the sides, on the opposite sides, so on and so forth. Okay, so we're going to do that on all of our nails, and then we're just going to come back and dust off everything. And this is another thing that I like to do. I like to do my whole hand, both hands at the same time before I dust off any powder. And the reason for that is that it gives the powder time to seep in. And you really want that powder to seep in before you dust everything off. So we've applied 4 layers thus far. I'm going to grab my nail file because I did create a wave on one of my nails, and I'm just going to file that off, file that down, smooth it out. And I showed you in a previous video how to fix waves or ripples if you have them. And then I'm going to move in and go in with my clear. Now I'm going to put the clear on, like I stated, to encapsulate the color, because I don't want to file off the color. I want to make sure that I have a protective layer to keep and seal the color in. But I'm going to do that to all 10 nails. And what I like to do, as I do with the other even color powder, is I will dip my finger in and I will let that powder sit on that nail until I'm ready to dust it off. And again, that just ensures that the powder and the bonding agent have time to really get to know each other and settle in. I don't want it to be a thing where they're just neighbors passing in the night and they don't know each other, right? So I like to let my powder sit. That's something else that you might want to do, is let your powder sit for a minute. It could be that your powder hasn't had time to not only formulate the relationship, but it hasn't settled in, and that will make it weak. And if it's weak, it won't cure correctly, and then you'll have all of these sort of issues. And like you can see here, I'm just dusting off everything. After I've done all 10 nails, dust off the powder, and then once I've done that, I'm going to move over to the next tip that I have for you. So the next tip, very next tip, and if you've watched my videos before, you know I am really adamant about using a certain type of file. So before I even go into that, let me back up. Let's move into step number 3. So step number 3 is your bond. You're going to apply that to your nails, and I apply my bond twice. So I apply 1 layer, let that sort of settle, and then I come back and I apply another layer and I let that settle. And the reason I need to do that is, again, I have 5 layers of dip on my nails. So I really want to make sure that that bonding agent is sort of seeping into whatever cracks and crevices that I may have, and that is getting into and hitting those layers so that it can actually help to cure quicker, and it can really form a nice foundation. So once that's done, right, we're looking at my nails now, and I'm just giving you a shot of what my nails like, so you can sort of see. You can have 5 layers, you can add 6. I know people who do 3 layers and their nails are thicker than my like the 5 layers. And that's because, one, the product they applied too much base, and the base that they applied hadn't settled down correctly, or the powder that they're using is just too thick for the application, and so you don't want to do that. I'm also showing and pointing out to you that I didn't flood those side walls and I didn't flood the cuticle area. I put the bulk of my product right there in the center. And that is because I need to make sure that, based on, again, my lifestyle, my activities, I know how my nails operate. I know where that weight is going to be distributed. I want to make sure that the weight is not too forward to the front, too far in the back. It's not on the sides, but it's right there in the center. So that as I'm going through my activities, or if I accidentally hit my hand on, a desk or the door or, anything of that nature, that I'm not able to easily crack my nails. Okay. You see, I've built up my apex. And again, I did not flood that cuticle area. So here's the next tip. The next tip for you is very simple. Make sure you're not filing, or the person that you're going to get your nails done from, make sure they're not using too hard of a nail file. The nail file, some of you are filing off way too much product. You are filing off all of your work, which is, again, another reason that your nails are cracking, because you don't have enough product on top of your nails. I would say, not only, but I would definitely say that 98% of the time I only use the 180 side. And I use the 180 side because it allows me to control the amount of product I am buffing, filing, and shaping off of my nail. When you go through the shaping and the filing process, you want to make sure that you're in control. And if you use the 100 side, the 100 side is coarser and it's going to take off more product. So whether you have a file from my company, or if you go to the beauty supply store and you get a file, make sure when you're grabbing those files that it says 100 over 180. If you're able to feel the file, see if the file has a smoother side on the opposite side of the file. And if both sides feel like they're the same, then you need a different file. Because again, if you are using that 100, and I will show you later on in the video, I'm going to show you how much dust and how much product has sort of come off of my nails during the shaping and filing process. If you have more dust and more powder than that coming off of your nails, then you filed off probably 2 layers of your product. For me, I only want to file, shape, and buff off no more than, I would say, maybe 10% of what I put on. And not even 10. I would say maybe more like 8. I want to keep the bulk of the product on my nail. So again, I'm not going to go in with a really harsh, a really abrasive nail file. I'm going to use that 180 side. I'm going to watch the direction of which I'm filing my nails. So if you go back, forth, you may take off more product than you want with the 100 side. But going back and forth with the 180 side would be not even half of what you would take off with the 100 side. Okay, and that is why I think it's very important to 2 tips. Again, you don't have enough layers on because you filed the layers off. Maybe you're using a diluted product, nail product, and that technique is not going to help. You just have a poor system in place, or you're too aggressive in the filing process and you've just filed off half of what you've put on, and therefore you don't have the strength that you're looking for because it's all on top of your workstation. Okay, so to me, those are some of like the easiest tips. And then also too, maybe that you didn't take the time to allow your product to settle in. Okay, so right here, I'm just showing you, I just filed, I just buffed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape all the little powder, and because it's easy for me to talk about it, but I want you to see it. Like This is what I just filed and shaped and buffed off of my thumbnail. If you have more powder than this, if you have more debris, more fallout than this, you have definitely filed off way too much product. You, this is why your nails are cracking. Like you went from having 5 layers on your hand to like now having maybe 2.5, maybe 2 and 3/4. And that is sort of the culprit as to why your nails are just not as strong as what they should be. Now, I will take the 100 side and sort of shape underneath my nails. And sometimes you might have like little ridges, little valleys, little peaks, and things of that nature underneath your free edge. So I like to use the 100 side to sort of smooth that piece out and to really smooth that out. But outside of that, I use the 180 side. That side should be your friend. It is soft to the touch. It's not as abrasive. So if you have an issue with your cuticle, if you have sensitive cuticle areas, then you want to do the 180 side. And like I just showed you, tapping on the desk, that is a strong nail. It is not going to just crack if you go outside and it's too cold. Like, I'm being facetious, but it's really not going to crack. Now, it's not indestructible. So yes, if you drop a brick on your nails, will your nail break? Absolutely. But if you're typing or doing something like that, or if you go and you accidentally hit your nail on like the refrigerator, it should not crack on you. Again, providing that you are using you have 5 layers, that you've followed the steps that I've showed you, and that you are using the 180 side of your nail file, you should be really, really good. Now, as you all know, when I shape, when I file, I like my nails to be very, I like a seamless transition. So I like a takeoff landing strip from like the actual cuticle to the dip application. And then I also like to follow up and make sure that when we're about to land, meaning getting closer to the free edge, that is as smooth and as low as possible without making it too fragile or too thin. And so, again, I hope these tips help you guys out when doing your nails at home, or even if you're starting your own, you're starting to take clients. If that's the case, I have some additional videos coming up that will, I think, be beneficial. But again, as I stated, if your nails are cracking, 9 times out of 10, the biggest issue is probably that you don't have enough layers. The second issue I would say would be the actual product that you're using may just not be of quality. It may be a weaker powder or weaker base coat, so it's not giving you the strength that you need. And then the third tip would be you're probably fouling off just way too much product off of your nails by using too harsh of a nail file. It's too abrasive, and because it's too abrasive, it's just taking off way too much powder. And because of that, your nails are not as strong as you would like them to be. So again, I hope this was helpful, just in the tips and everything. I try my best to make sure that I don't edit too much of the video so that you can see all of the steps, because I think that what one person may find beneficial, someone else may not, and vice versa. So I think that it's important that, we share all the tips and tricks, because again, we're doing our nails at home, we're doing our nails on the go, and this is something that I think will help most, if not many, because just by correcting those few little things, adding more layers, making sure you're not fouling off all of your product by using too harsh of a nail file, and that you're actually using quality products, that's going to help you maintain your overlay. Now, I have completely filed all of my nails. I was about to edit this section, but I wanted to show you the full video. So this is after I've buffed, filed, shaped that one hand. And again, I want you to see how much fall off or how much powder, fall off, fall back, dust that I have from shaping my nails on that one hand. If you have more than this coming off of your nails, you filed off too much product. And that's probably your main issue with why your nails are cracking. You just don't have enough product on because you filed it all off. Okay. So again, if you liked the shades or the colors that you saw in this video, if you're interested in purchasing any of the products that you've seen, you can head over to my website, naildipstudio.com. This is February, so I do have a 15% off discount code. If you use code BHM 2021, you can save 15% off of the total purchase. Yeah, so hopefully this video was helpful. Until we meet again, keep dipping. Bye, guys.